All right, hey Kevin. So today we're here because
figured I'd come down Friday at the end of the day for W.S.I.B. employees and let them know that, you know, we are out here and we're not scared, and they seem to think they can intimidate and injure workers and bully them online, and that's recently what happened in a court battle between W.S.I.B. security and a couple other members of W.S.I.B. Taking an injured worker in Windsor to court, trying to get a peace bond against him to stop him from speaking out on the internet in what they deemed or construed to be threatening or intimidating kind of posts, right? And meanwhile, they're the ones snooping on injured workers in injured worker support groups. So, you know, it's just a ridiculous attack on injured workers' rights to stand up as it is, right? We're already under the threat of being under surveillance by W.S.I.B. and I've been doing this now a couple years, probably 3 or 4 more actually.
And you're an injured worker yourself?
I am, yes. I haven't really done anything all winter actually. We just went down to show support in Windsor on Tuesday and Wednesday, and basically back in London, and I figured all of a sudden it's a nice day out, might as well get out here and ruin the end of their day for them, show them, you know, that we're not scared and that what they're doing is wrong. They're killing injured workers by benefit cuts and stress, and it's unreal.
The process, do you want to talk to me a little bit about a process? Say you need something such as like medication or a procedure or something like that.
They have a culture of denial. So basically, in order to save money, they don't give us pain drugs or pain meds, or they cut off therapy that you need, or they tell you that, you know, that nothing's gonna, they told me on the phone that nothing's gonna fix me. So basically, they don't care about my quality of life. They're just...
And how is your quality of life at this point?
Oh, terrible, terrible. I've been hurt since 1999. I tried, because of W.S.I.B. cutting me off and reinstating me and giving me such a low wage to live on and forcing me to work. I did part-time jobs for about 8 years. It just made my condition worse. I really don't get more than 4 hours sleep a night. It's about the last 6 years worth anyways. I barely eat. You know, I've lost weight down to like 141 pounds, and I'm like 6'1".
And in constant pain?
Constant pain with no medication and no therapy, because they won't pay for nothing. Because they say I won't get any better. That's just cruel and unusual, you know? Like, I don't want to be at home. I want to be doing something in society, and the fact that I'm coming out here from 3:30 till 4 is terrible. Like, a year ago, I would do it for an hour or 2, right? And this has been a bad winter, so sure, that plays into it, but poverty is a big thing. I can't afford to even get bus tickets. London's a big city, you know. In order for me to get down here, I need $2.75 at least. And $2.75 could be a small thing of milk for me, you know, or a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating, you know. There's injured workers out there that are losing families and committing suicide and losing their houses and their livelihood. Like, people think that their livelihood is like having a good job and money and, you know, being able to buy stuff. No, like, your livelihood is just being able to live happily with what you have. Anything other than that is material to me. Like, I just want to be able to live my life, you know. So
what about the impression that, you know, that, what do you think about the fact that you don't qualify for even Ontario health insurance for these things once you're on W.S.I.B.?
Yeah, like, as soon as you file, anywhere in Canada actually, as soon as you file a workers' compensation claim, you're now excluded from what's called insured, the definition of insured health services in the Canada Health Act. So basically in Ontario, that's OHIP. So anytime I'm in chronic pain, say can't sleep for 4 days because I got, you know, neck pain, and yet, what am I going to do? Go to the hospital, wait in a waiting room for 4 to 6 hours just to have them tell me to go see my family doctor? They never do anything for me. Like, if they could tell me that at the beginning, I wouldn't even bother going in. At least now I know that, and I don't waste my time. It is very frustrating though, right? Because you lose faith.
But they're excluding you from a basic right of being a Canadian to health care.
For sure. And it's very, it's all in the way they have it done is so that the employers pay for your health care costs. Well, that doesn't work because the employers don't actually pay for it because they pay premiums on you. So it's like paying car insurance, kind of, right? Like I'm not paying it myself. I'm not even entitled to get my own. Like the insurance is the company's insurance on me as an asset to them. It seems, right? Mm-hmm. So the minute I'm no good, off with me, right? Like most companies, if you look at a lot of injured workers, the companies end up telling them they don't even have any modified duties for them. They're not even trying to accommodate them after they've been hurt. And they're supposed to, right? And WSIB is supposed to pressure that. But instead, workers sit at home and don't have any therapy or treatment, get denied, basically sit at home. And then they, after who knows how long time, sometimes a year and a half, they decide to retrain the worker, right? Well, if you haven't been back to work in the first 3 to 6 months, it's like 50% chance less. Like it gets harder and harder to get back to work the longer you've been off. Mm-hmm. And some of these workers, including myself, were off for 2 years before we even.
Now, when you were asked to go back to work with light duties, was there any chance of that even happening in the position or the job that you were working at formerly?
At first they tried to, but no, they realized, because I was a union guy, right? So I'm making close to $17 an hour. They decided that they didn't want me walking around with a clipboard, checking stuff or whatever. I ended up being.
So it wasn't cost effective for them.
Well, for the company, yeah, it's easier because then they don't pay any wage. As long as I'm at work, then they're paying me my full wage for the hours that I'm there. So if I'm working 40 hours a week, I hurt myself, I go back on modified duties, maybe I can only work 20 hours a week for the first, few weeks to get back onto things. Well, then the company pays you the 20 hours a week, comp pays the rest. Well, what happens is the companies decide they don't want some guy in a factory making that kind of money walking around doing nothing in their eyes, right? Like they have you say, they try to get some injured workers sweeping floors, which how is that helping an injured worker with a back and shoulder and neck problems, right? Yeah,
light duties may not necessarily be easy duties for someone with those kind of injuries.
Especially with a lot of people that have repetitive strain injuries, which seems to be quite common in factories and a lot of other places, right? Like you're doing repetitive work for long periods of time. And it's easier, like with my claim, I was actually 11 months or so before the company actually took me off of work and filed a claim. They kept trying to say, okay, well, go home early, or because then the company just pays you for the rest of the day off, but they don't have to file a claim that way.
Yeah.
And that's what they talk about, hiding injuries. And earlier this year, there was an article in the Toronto Star about how WSIB rebated $15 million to companies that were actually found guilty under the Ontario Health and Safety Act for causing the death of a worker. So that's benefit money, $15 million that went back to them. That's outrageous, where our benefits are being cut and we're being surveilled around. And
so the workers, the injured workers, are basically being, pushed further and further into poverty, while WSIB and the companies that, the workers were injured at, get kickbacks essentially.
Yes, for sure. And then the overall rebates, though, is more like $43 million. And that's to all different employers and brands. They have safety groups, they call them, or basically for a couple $100, a company gets to go in and sit down for the day or 2-day seminar and learn how to keep their costs down for WSIB. Well, we're all the injured workers seminars to show us how to live and how to, that's the biggest thing about this court case in Windsor. We were trying to say the security guy said that he felt threatened by the post and that he was all stressed and all these feelings that injured workers feel constantly, right? Mm-hmm. And some people were saying, well, you know what? Try doing it in poverty. my dude in chronic pain because he makes $106,000 a year to watch injured workers.
And he can probably afford the chiropractic or
Yeah.
massage therapy
He's probably got a
or,
full
you know,
benefits
yoga
package.
or whatever else to de-stress.
Yep.
Or on the other hand, you just get to worry more and more.
And same with injured workers. A lot of us, you know, worked in factories or even good paying any job really that had benefit packages. And once you get cut off and put into the system, you're now, WSIB doesn't care about that. The dental coverage and all that, they don't cover that. They only cost loss of earnings. Well, how can you even say what I'm getting is loss of earnings? 16 years ago, I made $17 an hour almost in a union shop, right? Where would I be now? I'm getting 0.5% of an increase each year. That's it, the last 3 years. That's well below any cost of living increase.
So if it's not too personal of a question, at this point right now, month to month, what is it that you have to live on?
Right now I get like $1,300.
Yeah, and you
Which
have
is-
to pay rent and food and
Yep,
all
hydro
that,
and utilities.
all that stuff, which pretty much I would assume wipes out that
Drain.
whole check.
Drains you, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't really leave any money for anything.